The jet is taken off.
We have liftoff.
Well, the Winnipeg Arena is all right.
It's a special night for Winnipeg, a special night for this entire province as the puck is dropped.
For Buffalo, cross ice for Riley, scores!
Mark Shoutley gives the Jets the lead.
Take it to the Jets game today.
It clearly will be one of the best places to come and watch a National Hockey League game.
The Winnipeg Jets are proud to select from the USHL Youngstown, Kyle Connor.
Jets Fantasy Fuel Podcast, Episode 9. We're going to be talking about the first preseason game that just happened there. A little disappointing for sure. We got Shelly on the air here and Patty Sumrocks there. A little triple action here. We're going to triple team this goalie thing.
Hopefully we don't talk too much on top of each other.
Yeah, see how this chemistry works out there. I know our lists are pretty different there for sure. But before we jump into the list there, what do we think about the first preseason game? Any first initial thoughts? Anyone that really jumped out at you?
Poorly.
Poor.
A lot of people jumped out poorly.
Okay, let's start with the positives though.
Luoto.
Okay, yeah.
Great game.
Yeah. I guess he was playing with Lowry and Wheeler in training camp on a line for a bit there. I like his work ethic. He's a hard worker. Obviously, if some of that skill can translate too, I think he's going to be great. I think we need a better look at him. Nobody really was talking about him before this camp, and he's kind of been up and down, kind of like the CJ Seuss. I thought had a great game, really good on the face-offs. He was in front of the net when he needed to be. Hobie Baker finalist last year, obviously a decent player there. Wait, that wasn't last year. No, that was a couple of years ago. Right. Yeah. Still though, yeah. He's looking promising there. Letestu in an interview, obviously talking about how hard he's going to work to get a spot. I don't think he has it still. We should get the young players in there. If Letestu's on our starting lineup and Bork, we're screwed.
It wouldn't be looking good if both of them made it.
No, and I like what he was saying about it. Like, you got to earn your spot and whatnot. But like me watching him in the interview, I was like, dude, like there's no way you're making this spot. Like, he went out and did everything perfect, but it's a preseason game. He didn't do anything out of the ordinary. He was finishing his checks, doing everything you would expect out of a player, but out of it as a veteran, he didn't take the handle. He didn't really do something that would make him.
He wasn't a drag on the team, but that's pretty much all you can say. He didn't do anything positive.
No, I was
on the outlook of the game.
Yeah, from his interview, I was expecting a little more out of that. On the, and Gustafsson, another kind of player behind the play. I liked everything he was doing. He wasn't doing anything too much or not enough. He's right there, and I think once he takes that step of knowing when to do what he does, I think he'll be great. But everything I was seeing from him behind the play, really smart player. I liked what I saw, and maybe in a couple of years he'll be ready, but he's in the right direction.
Gustafsson and Luoto, definitely injury call-ups.
Yeah.
Yeah, once the season starts, they probably won't make the team right out of camp.
No.
But they'll be top considerations after what they showed Paul Maurice. They'll definitely have him in mind.
But still, on one of my first casts, I had Vasalainen making the starting lineup, and after what I saw from Luoto, I don't know.
I cannot stand Vesalainen. I've
Really?
never seen him win one puck battle in his entire life. Huge frame, decent skater. He just looks like he looks lost.
He does. Yeah.
All the games I've seen him play live, it's even more apparent when you can follow him.
But he's big. He can skate. Like, he has all the tools to do it. He's just not putting it.
He's never won a battle. Yeah. I swear. I would give you $5 if you found a video of him winning a battle.
Thanks. Some rocks. Comes from a rich background. Give me $5. Thanks, man.
Yeah, no worries.
Pionk. Let's get on that. You had some different thoughts than I did. Shelly, what did you think of Pionk?
Well, he didn't surprise me because I watched him play a number of games in New York last year.
You were expecting this?
Well, I was expecting what I saw. What I wasn't expecting was to see Pucker Toolman playing the kind of uninspired hockey, sort of Tucker Pullman, and also...
Okay, we're talking Pionk. Piat. We're talking about Pionk. What did you think about him?
Not very strong.
That's what you were saying, man. Like, what I expected exactly happened. He looked like a little Tyson Barrie out there. He was horrible at defense, and he was amazing at offense. I think having Stanley beside him is hard because you'd want to rely on him more, but Stanley looked good for some plays and looked bad for some plays. So we'll get to Pullman here. Same thing. He looked amazing for a second, and then he would just mess it up. He looked nervous out there too, to the point where it's like he should be one of these other rookies that should be in the top tier, that they've done this before. They've had these games before. A lot of these players haven't. Pionk, that's his first time coming into that. And obviously playing in the NHL makes a difference last year. But Pullman, I expected a little more out of him. We'll see next game if he can pull it together there. But what I saw, it was moments of brilliance, and then he would just give it away. Or he would just like mess up, look really nervous. I don't know what it was, but I feel like as an overall player, he could do a little more. But for as far as the back end goes, Pionk, I think, stole the show for me.
Pionk might have a role in the team, whereas they struggled last year a ton to just get the puck out of the zone.
Yeah.
None of the defensemen were doing a good job of that. Myers kept coughing it up. Truba would always make a bonehead play. Bufflin would just carry it out himself. Pionk actually has a good first pass.
Oh, yeah.
So that's where he might find a nice niche for Paul Maurice, someone who can consistently just get it out. And all their other defensemen just struggle mightily at just getting the puck out of there. So hopefully Niku, he's shown a lot of promise at that. Morrissey, if he can get a healthy season, that will help out a ton.
Yeah, I got Morrissey for a healthy season.
I thought Logan Stanley showed a lot of good puck movement. I didn't see any bad first passes. I saw a lot of highly intelligent first passes. For everything that Pionk didn't bring maybe for people, I think Logan Stanley was a big surprise.
Yeah, he's still not ready though. I don't think he's still not there yet. He could work on his skating a bit. That's my only problem.
The foot speed.
Yeah.
If he's not exactly in the right spot, it's
he doesn't have the first couple steps. He doesn't have the speed, the footwork to do what he needs to do. If he wasn't as big as he was
in the same game, he came out of the corner sometimes with pirouette moves after he made the pass and was actually able to jump up into the play.
But I think he has more to him though. Like I'm talking like him in like a couple of years, he's going to be our best defense. But I think for him to, if he played this year, give him a third line role, whatever you want to call it. He's not going to make the first line. Let's get real. He might get maybe like 12 minutes a game, 8 minutes, whatever it is. But if he's playing for the Moose for a full season, he's going to be their main guy.
I don't know. I'd rather have him practicing with guys like Bufflin and Morrissey and Sammy and maybe Pionk.
Yeah.
Two different schools of thought, I suppose.
Yeah,
I've never seen a player get over seasoned.
No, but
in the AHL though.
But if skating,
I've seen career AHL players that couldn't get in because they were seasoned. Lapon is a good example. He could play on a lot of teams in the NHL, but he just, for some reason, it doesn't work out. And he's a good hockey player.
It'd be different if it was systems we're talking about, or shot, size, whatever you want to call it. I'm talking skating. So if we're talking skating, what would be more beneficial? Probably more ice time. It's more skating. Like, it just makes sense. Like, there's some players that come up, they have the skating, they have everything else, fast line, but they don't have the system. They don't know their place. And I think he has everything else except the skating. So I think that's why another year with the Moose might be a little more beneficial.
I was also disappointed with Potato. Between Potato and Bolio, like I had high hopes for Bolio, but he did not play very well in that first game.
No. So what do we think about Morrissey signing a contract before Connor and Liney?
Crazy that Cheveldayoff had the time, I suppose. When he's already contracted for the year, he's not exactly.
They didn't have to sign him until
front-running issue.
Until next year.
Yeah, it's a wonder.
So we could take it both ways here. We could either be like, hey, Liney, Connor, a little slap in the face, or literally it could be a math thing. Cheveldayoff could be like, okay, Morrissey is a huge part of our future. Let's sign him, see how much we're going to sign him for, and see how much money we have left to spend on these players.
This thing's not a headache. Just get it out of the way, get it done, and make it official.
Yeah.
Well, it also lets the other rookies know, or the other early young players, second, third year players like Ehlers and Liney, Connor, that they're serious if they're going to be able to lock up a guy like Morrissey, because these guys know how good Morrissey is. They practice and play with him all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, it's a good sign for sure. It's a start.
Rewards loyalty, and they do pay the money. Look at Bufflin's contract. Look at Wheeler's contract. Look at Little's contract. They do reward their players for sure.
Maybe too much. That's why we're in this situation.
Possibly, but if you want,
Wheeler got $3 million too much, and now we're in this situation. I give Wheeler 5.5.
I have difficulty being objective about American captains on Canadian teams, so I'm already behind the 8 ball, and I also think a lot of the style of hockey that is being taught in Hockey USA, although they won a World Junior Championship with great goaltending 2-3 years ago, I don't think it's conducive to winning in the NHL. Sorry.
No, and players you watch too. Like most of my favorite ones are definitely like from Finland or Canada. We just have a different kind of style here for sure. Kane is obviously my favorite U.S. player to watch, but he's kind of an own breed.
Mine is Austin. I love
Yeah?
Austin Matthews. Yeah, I'm a big Austin Matthews fan. My friends hate me for it too. Oh, he's American. He played in Phoenix. I don't care. Watch him with his compatriots on the ice.
Yeah, man.
That's what he's.
I love the Kachucks. Both of them.
Oh,
I love the Pats. I mean,
Are they not Canadian?
I love Avery too. So
They're
nuts.
They're American, eh?
Yeah.
They play like Canadians.
They
Tell
do.
me they're
Keith
they're
Tkachuk-
American, but they were.
Keith Tkachuk was a favorite in Winnipeg for a reason.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like I swear. Did they not grow up in Canada?
Nope, St. Louis mostly. St.
Oh,
Louis
wow.
and Boston.
They play like Canadians.
Yeah. No, they're just crazy.
In Phoenix too. Kachuk was in Phoenix
Yeah.
for a few years too. And isn't that where Austin played as well?
Yeah.
Weird.
Matt, what'd you guys think of Chipasov?
I was impressed with Cheapsov.
Yep.
Very impressed. For a
Yeah.
Rusky, he reminded me of Vaclav Nedomansky. Sorry, young people, that's from the 72 Canada-Russia series.
He could definitely keep up. Right? Like, he didn't look out of place.
For 227 pounds.
He's a big boy.
Yeah.
I liked what I saw. There was a little controversy in training camp. I guess Kulikov was having to translate for him, but they asked him after, like, oh yeah, I guess he hardly knows any English, and Kulikov kind of was hinting at the fact that he knows more English than he puts off. So like, there's this little game going on where he's new to the team. Maybe he's playing this way to like kind of like slither in there and then be like, oh, it's fine, he doesn't know English, so like let him off on that one. But I think it knows a little more than people are thinking. So he's playing it to a T. He knows exactly how to get on this team, and I think if you're that dedicated, he'll make the opening night. Like he's exactly what the fans want. We're missing Bufflin, the hitting. Like
Yeah, just a big guy.
Yeah.
Just to make some space, right?
Yeah.
Just to make space for the passes if someone's just going straight to the front of the net as a big body.
And I'd rather almost have him than some of the other mainstays that we've had. Like he's shown some promise. And this is just a couple, whatever, he could die out. Like 14 games in, 20, 30 games in. But let's use him for those 14, 30 games.
If I've learned anything about True North, though, they don't always admit their mistakes. They try to double down, and Chibasov might be the answer to the fact that they locked up Bernistrov when he got here.
Yeah, they had a Russian connection there. It's never really played out. But
Well, looking forward to the game against Minnesota at home. Hopefully we get to see a better effort
yeah, we should almost
than we did against the Oilers.
maybe watch that before. Have some beers there for sure.
Yeah.
Good idea.
I got the day off. I'm getting a tattoo on Wednesday. I'm finishing up some of that Guardians of the Galaxy sleeve I'm working on there. It's been a painful but rewarding process.
Apparently it's swollen, swelling too. It's a little swollen there.
Yeah, those are just my arms there, dude. Hit the gym today. And
Top
it's
11 goalies.
we another news though. NHL Players Association decided not to reopen the collective bargain agreement there, so we're good for 3 years. No matter what happens, they can extend the contract, but they can't reopen it till September 15th in 3 years. So
Good news.
yeah, it's
No one likes a lockout.
yeah. Gary was basically stating, I don't know if he's being a crook on this one or if it's actually what they're thinking, but from both sides of the party, if something comes to a halt and the season's not working, you have to quickly come to a decision. But if you have 3 years to figure it out, and I'm sure it's going to take 3 years the way things move in NHL, it's going to come to last minute kind of negotiations. We say 3 years, but it's more so we have room to grow. How can this league get better? How can both sides agree and still make money at the same time? If nothing's going on, no one's making money. And the fans are disappointed. You lose fans. Again, it's just the whole system as a cycle. Is the NHL healthy? I think this is the first step showing that we're at a first point where, the players are concerned with the CBA, the numbers there they could work on. But this is something where it's if the league's going on at the same time, I feel like there's more room for expansion.
There's a lot of positives coming up with
Yeah.
The Beijing Olympics. China's always a market the NHL wanted to tap into. Seattle coming in. Just a lot of things that the extension's just going to avoid.
Imagine that Seattle comes in. Oh yeah. There's no NHL this year.
Sorry.
How much did that arena cost? Like $985.
I think he spent $600 on the expansion fee, like $600 million.
Yeah.
On the expansion fee alone, he doesn't want to start late.
I swear, I thought I seen a $985 million, which costs
For the arena, that's possible.
Yeah, because they want it for the new concert venues. Apparently, they had to keep the old roof on it, so they have to build around because it's a national historic site. So they literally can't take it down. But they got to keep the roof and build around it and make it bigger. So like, it's going to cost a little more money, a little more headaches there for sure. But nice to see that we don't have to worry about a lockout for the next couple seasons there. When was the last lockout? I think if anyone remembers.
Second year after Atlanta got here, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We lost half a season not super long ago.
Yeah, first 3 months in the 2004 season, and then 2012 we lost the whole season, and in 1994. But seems to be a recurring factor that it should have been next year that we would have lost. So thankful for 3 more years. But let's bang out right into the top 11 goalies there. I think a number 1 is undisputed. It was like our wingless. It was the easiest player to pick there.
Same team.
Same team. Fortunately for Tampa Bay fans, Vasilevskiy 39 wins, 10 losses last year. Put up huge numbers, 925 save percent. He has an average of a 919. You know, it's not a fluke there. Yes, probably 10% of that comes from the team, but just watching him, he's a first pick, 2012, 19th overall. He has 40 wins projected for this year. It's fair. He could get up to probably 45. I have them probably around the 37 range, but if you're guaranteed lockup for around then, it's a guaranteed pick. But again, strategy value, it depends where he goes in your draft. If he's getting 6th to 10th to even 12th overall, why pick him when you can pick another goalie that will do almost just as good to lock that up? It depends how important goalie stats are in your league. I know my league was shutouts, save percent, and wins. So that's huge. That's everything to do with it.
Last year he finished first in wins, fourth in shutouts, third in save percentage, if you count goalies that started 45 games.
Oh, bringing the stats out of the yin-yang. Fatty.
Taking my notes from Statsman Wit. Just top 5 in every category. Just terrific goalies, hard to go wrong.
He's huge. He's one of those goalies I remember watching last year. He would basically you'd think you would beat him and you'd have an empty net and he would flail and do the save every time. He does it every time where you think you have the open net, he'll just flail back with his backhand and do this weird twist and somehow save it. It's like part of his routine where you see goalies do that, like, oh, it's a once in a lifetime save. He does it routinely where people think he beats them, and like that's just how he works.
The
like
Lundqvist school of goaltending.
Yeah, he's probably a bounce back year. I didn't have him on my 11 there, but I know you would as a classy fellow there, Shelly. Number 2, who do we got?
This is where everyone starts going way off.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's going to be similar after this.
Before we go to number 2, though, may I offer that because you called him Vasilevskiy, it's actually Vasilevskiy. Just because he's Russian doesn't mean we can't get his name pronounced correctly.
Yeah. same. Yeah. I hear you there. Yeah. Vassy. We'll just call him Vassy from now on there.
That's my nickname.
Yeah. Bobrovsky, I had number 2.
As did I.
I had Freddie Anderson.
All right, I got him for 3. Bobrovsky, 37 wins, 24 losses, playing for a struggling Columbus team in the first bit of the season before they picked up the powerhouse of Duchesne and Panarin, and who else from Ottawa they picked up there? The center?
Duchesne.
No, who's the other guy? The third
Zingle.
center. Yeah, Zingle too. He's pretty underrated. But overall, when you're playing for Columbus that doesn't really care about you, they would play Korpisalo a few games too. I don't know if him and Torts had problems. Clearly, when he was in the net, he did not care. He posted a 913 last year. He averages about a 920. You could just tell, like, oh, you want to start Korpisalo? Oh, sweet. Fuck you. Like, I'm going to do my thing. Like, I don't care what you guys do at the end of the year. I'm not playing here at the end of the year. This is the attitude I'm going to have. And this year, he's going to kill it. Playing on a way better defensively system team. Barkov wins every draw. Florida's going to be huge this year. They got the coaching. We talked about it a couple episodes ago of the most upsided teams this year, and Florida is on my upside list. He's projected for 34 wins, but I have him for at least 35, 37. He's going to be in the vast range there, and that's why I have him for number 2. The last 3 years, he's put up 37, 41, and 37 wins. Like, he's a consistent player. He'll play a full season, and if he actually cares about his team, he's going to be a little better. And there's no pressure in Florida. You go down there, there's no fans, there's no media. You can just do your thing, and Bobrovsky's going to put up huge numbers this year, for sure.
Absolutely. Bobrovsky's still 4th on my list. It's not like he fell down a lot. The only concern that I kept him away from the top 2 was just the new team.
Yeah.
You never know how a goalie's going to do with a brand new system, brand new D.
Yeah.
I just like other guys who stayed at their team and performed just as good last year.
That's a fair point. They're all pretty close from 2 to 5.
Definitely.
Anderson, where did we have him on our list? I have him at 3. Shelley.
Anderson didn't make my list.
Wow. All right. You're cut off. 36 wins, 16 losses, 917 save percent. If anyone watched hockey last year, I do watch hockey a fair amount. He gets left to dry every time.
Because he doesn't have great D, and I don't see that really changing.
It's worse with Barry back there. But the whole thing is, like, why do you need good D if you have the puck the whole game? That's what they rely on. Yeah, when they lose the puck, they're in their own.
Let's remember we had this discussion at the end of the season, fellas.
Yeah, they're chasing the puck around in their own zone, but he seems to bail them out more than he should. And he called them out last year. He had that little freak out and was like, "Hey, you guys got your shit together," and like everyone supported it. But meanwhile, all of us listening to it was like, "Hey, you gotta like maybe not say that to your team. You're the goalie. That's what you're there for."
Didn't do so well with Pavlik here, did it?
No.
He finished third in wins last year for goaltenders, and I don't see that number going. I don't see Toronto losing any more games than they did last year.
No.
If anything, it's going to be more. When fantasies for goaltenders is mostly about wins,
and that's
a win. I can't put Anderson below my top 3.
Having Nylander for a full season too, there it's going to be a little different kind of system. You got Barry scoring more goals. He is projected for 38. I think it's exactly what he's going to get. He's going to be right around that range. The last couple 3 years there, he's like 38, 33. Wins the 2 years before that. He's definitely a reliable goalie.
Consistency.
Who do you Anaheim, right? Did he come from when he was got traded?
Yeah.
I remember he was even ripping in Anaheim, and like if they obviously didn't have Gibson back there too, they probably would have kept on to him. But super good for being under the stress of playing in Toronto. You're the Toronto's number 1 goalie. You can deal with the media. Obviously they bash him too, but he just kind of seems to block it out.
Steady Dane.
Yeah.
He's not a Canadian. A little less pressure.
Yep. I like what I see there. I think it's a safe pick at 3. We're going to go ahead and take a break on our first segment. We'll be right back here. Back segment 2. I got a surprise pick for everyone. Everyone that listens to this pick will probably turn this podcast off. But at the end of the year, when you hear the numbers, come back and turn this podcast back on.
Rocky Mountain High.
Yep. Grubauer. A whopping 32 projected wins this year. I have him up in the 37 to 40 wins. I would put him in the top 3 if I didn't think he was that big of a risk. I think putting him at 4 is a huge risk for most people, but when you consider the fact that 2 years ago he was the goalie that got Washington into playoffs, Holtby took a stink. He was a 900 save percent, and what are they going to do? They played Gruby. He took them all the way to playoffs. He played the first 2 games, never played playoffs before. It got destroyed. Like Washington really didn't help him, and Holtby took them to the Cup. But to have a goalie like that, I think he gets undermined. That last year when he came into Colorado, he was fighting for a spot with Varley, never really got into the groove until Varley took a stunk. And when February, February came there. I don't know what comes first, apparently, in my months. He killed it. He was like 11-1, ridiculous, rolled them right into the playoffs. They should have not won against Calgary or San Jose, but with him behind them and the players they were making, it was a momentum. He'd make those big game saves to put them in that position to be like, Calgary couldn't get anything going. Remember, Gaudreau had like 3 breakaways that one game, didn't score once, and he scores every breakaway. So for them to do that, and the year they're coming up, it's like before you want to argue there, some rocks before you guys chomp this tree down. When he doesn't get 37 to 40 wins this year, come back to me. They don't have a number 2, so even if he's playing bad, they're still going to start him. And if he does play bad, they're still going to win because of the team they have in front of him. I'm not really totally invested in the whole him, because like I've seen what he does. He's perfect for the role, but I'm more investing in Colorado winning him the games that he doesn't win. And when he gets in his groove, it's going to be a different story. It's a ridiculous pick at number 4. I believe you did you guys?
I've got him in my top 10.
You do?
I've got him at 10.
I've got him at 10 as well.
Okay, never mind. You guys. Okay.
I see him as that goalie, as exactly like you said.
Yeah.
When you have guys at the top, you just let other people pick goalies.
Yeah.
And then I would just wait late in the draft, get Grubauer there, who I believe in just as much, but I would just pick 9 goalies ahead of him instead of,
Yeah.
just 6 of them.
Yeah.
It's you have
Depending where you can get him in the placement. That's why I'm making this list. Like, hey, if you can get Grubauer, he's rated number 14 on the overall goalie list for NHL.
Yep.
If you can get him like anywhere in that range, he's going to be totally worth it, because I have him as my top 4 for
Colorado's
wins.
a great team, so if they're just going to get wins and they're going to ride them,
Yeah.
absolutely.
And them not having a second goalie, that's key. Like, a lot of these teams have 2 goalies. Like, okay, if this one's not playing good, if Kemper's not playing good, we'll play Ranta, vice versa, whatever you want to call it. But
Great teams make great goalies. Look at the Habs for the years that
Yeah.
they had all those Vezina winners.
Yep.
There were many coaches who said, with those 4 defensemen, any goalie is going to win the Vezina.
oh yeah, yeah. It's
You
that's
might
all
be
you need.
talking into me putting him up higher, but I'm still 4 is silly.
4 is pretty. I might be reaching on that one, but I'm going with my instincts here. My next pick might even be more of a reach for everyone else listening. If I haven't lost you listeners by now, number 5, Ranta, Arizona. We were talking about this before.
Yep.
Yeah. He only had, I think, about 11 games last year, and he got injured. I don't have an injury concern because he's had healthy years before that. Arizona gave a leg and a toe to get him from New York as, New York's backup, and they saw what he can do. He put up a .930 save percent and 21 wins the year before that. I think and that was without their new coach. Now that Rick, what's his last name? Pittsburgh took him to the Cup. He was their assistant coach. Rick Top. Yeah.
He's the head coach in
Yeah.
Arizona now.
His system is ridiculous. Like, when you watch them, they're kind of like becoming a Nashville, where like they're boring to watch. They'll only score 2 or 3 goals, but they'll only let 1 or 2 against. They're so defensively sound that if they played the full year they played like halfway through last year, they would have made playoffs. So having this year, having Schmaltz not being injured the whole year, having Ranta back, picking up Kessel on the power play, I think everyone's going to be surprised of how many wins Arizona gets. The Pacific Division's kind of up and down. No one really knows how Anaheim's going to do. Obviously, you got Vegas up there, but I also have Arizona locking up a spot this year. And who's going to lead them to it? Ranta. We talked about this, Patty, before.
Yeah.
You were saying, Kemper.
I love Phoenix. If picking goaltenders in the NHL is the same as the NFL defense,
Yeah.
I'd pick Phoenix goaltenders way higher.
You could even combo that. If you comboed him and Kemper, like, it wouldn't be that bad. But a reason to get away from that is...
I just don't know if the coach is going to stick to loyalty after Kemper almost carried him to the playoffs last year. He had great numbers, but I agree that...
Definitely not. He left Pittsburgh. There's no loyalty there.
There's the... Ranta's the better goalie, but the team got carried by Kemper last year. So I just don't know if they're going to platoon it a little bit more.
Let's rephrase that. The team did not get carried by Kemper. Kemper got carried by the coach and his system. When you play into that, you got Barry Trotz and Leonard there too. Do you think Leonard's going to put up a .930 this year with Chicago? Probably not.
Highly unlikely.
Yeah, there's just no comparison of Ranta and Kemper. And I've Kemper, fucking guy, man. I hate that dude, man. I've seen him so many games just bitch out, cry because he got a puck here, he had to leave. He wasn't playing good. He let 5 goals and pretended to get injured in other games. Just everything I've seen from him. He's a piece of work there, and Ranta's going to take that full-time position too. And maybe Kemper will be good trade bait. Arizona likes to trade everyone and everything and talk to everyone. So their GM probably going to trade Kemper while he's a hot commodity.
I hope so for Phoenix's sake. I just don't know if they're going to platoon it.
But yeah, what idiot team's going to come by and pick him up? Oh yeah, we'll pick up Kemper. No, it was the system why he was so good. It wasn't him. Like, let's get real.
Hockey GMs have made dumber moves.
Yeah. If Fenton was still in Minnesota, he'd be the first to come for Kemper there. But Ranta on your list there, Shelley, at all?
I thought about it. I wasn't convinced the defense in Arizona was going to help him. you alluded to a Pittsburgh loyalty. Were you talking about Tocchet or one of the goalies who left Pittsburgh?
Tocchet.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I just don't see how you can put him ahead of who's the guy who got his team to the Stanley Cup final but didn't win last year and has won a cup? Oh yeah, Tuukka Rask and then Marc-Andre Fleury. I just don't know how you can have him ahead of those two, who I have at 4 and 5.
Yeah.
Rask and Fleury.
I guess my argument's more so placement. Like, Ranch is rated 17th overall for goalies, which will probably get you into the 60 range if you're drafting round 4 or 5. You're going to have to pay a little more for Fleury and Rask, who Fleury, injury problems. I hope they don't have to play Subban all year because they're going to be trash. But
Sparks.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Sparks will definitely take that
Sparks.
over Subban.
He's a good backup, Sparks.
Yeah. Yeah, but like first couple games last year, let like 7-8 goals in. Like Toronto was like, really? You just won the AHL best goalie, and now you're letting 8 goals in. What's
have to have D.
Yeah, that's why Anderson doesn't get enough credit, right? But no, Fleury and who was your other pick ahead?
Rask.
Yeah.
I'm just afraid of the platoon. Halak took near 40 games from him last year. Halak played great. Boston loves giving a little bit more load management during the season. Let's
to the
Rask be
goalies,
fresh
not
for the
their
playoffs
players.
because they know they're going to be going late. I'm just afraid of Rask missing too many starts.
Mm-hmm.
He sure proved his versatility to me in the playoffs. He won a lot of.
He was
definitely.
He was nice. He was really good in playoffs.
Great goaltender. I'm just afraid of the wins numbers.
Yeah, it's a full season concern for me. It's he can play when it comes to it, but they're gonna save him for playoffs again. But I didn't have him as high. Goalie we haven't talked about yet, which NHL listed at number 2, Ben Bishop, 27 wins, 15 losses, 1.98 save percent. Anything under 2 is legendary. A 934 save percent. He's almost 8 feet tall. He looks like 9 feet on skates. He's projected for 33 this year, which is manageable. If he did have a full season, he could get up to the 40 range, but it's been the last 5-6 years. It's like he'll tweak right at the beginning of the season, then he'll come back hard. But I can't take a chance drafting him that high at that position and spending missing on a potential forward when you could get the same goalie later in the draft. But he's locked at 6 for me. I don't have him as high as NHL just because the injury concern. And apparently, like, I was reading their thing too. It's like, oh yeah, everything's injury relevant. It's like, no, it's not, dude. Why do you have Bishop at 2 then? Like why would you put these goalies that play and get 40 wins the last 3 years ahead?
3 instead of 2. Sorry.
Oh, good.
I saw him at 3 as well.
Oh wow.
He finished first in the league in save percentage last year. First in goals against average. 13th in wins though, but he just makes all his starts count.
Yeah, and Dallas is going to be huge.
He's Clydesdale. He works. He's a workhorse.
Yeah, Dallas is going to be a huge team. Like you're not bad going at 2 for him, but like strategy wise, like I just rather take him a little later there. But I'm glad you two are on the same page there. Yeah. I sound like an a-hole. Oh, yeah, Grubauer and Ranch ahead of Bishop.
If you wait to pick your goalie and Bishop's still on the board,
just take him.
Scoop him.
Take him. It's a guaranteed 30 wins for sure. Yeah. I'm just talking upsides here. Like we got like
definitely.
Yeah.
If you're willing to wait on your draft a little bit more. Yeah. Those other guys are huge pickups.
But the only thing bad about that is like once you start waiting for goalies, like once they start going, they go. And people start drafting like, okay, I'll wait one more round, and then you have no goalies left. Like you're left
stuck picking backups.
Yeah, you're left hoping that Renee gets injured, and you're stuck with Saros. Number 7, Fleury. There's really no argument. I would have had him higher, like Shelley, at 4 or 5 if he didn't have as much injury concern. 35 wins last year.
Same number as his age, I think. He's going to be turning this year, 34, 35.
That's where
he's slowing down a little bit as well.
913 save percent last year on a Vegas team who's heavily coached, heavily depth. That should be around the 920. There should be no. I feel like if he wasn't on the Vegas and he played for another team, it wouldn't be the same story. As his age, he's getting older. Yeah, he makes those fancy saves, but for a full year to keep up with that, he started breaking down around All-Star game. Remember, he got lit up at the All-Star game there, and everyone's like, I know it's just an All-Star game, but I feel like that was
good for the confidence. So I didn't like that,
No. What, the All-Star game in general?
Well, it's got to be hard to be a goalie when there's no defense being played. Plus, goalies can get hurt overextending. Like, goaltenders are they're special players, and I'm an old school goalie lover. I mean, goalies are like sacred queen bees. At all the hockey I play, the goalies, I buy them beers. I make sure they're looked after. goalie. If you don't have a hot goalie, you don't win. And the goalies.
If you're a goalie, Shelley will cradle your nuts. But no, I hear you. You always gotta.
See, you had to say that before the Billy Smith thing that I was about to start with.
No, okay.
Warrior goalies, and Bishop is one of them.
Yeah.
And how can you go against the history? I watch the goalies play. Yeah, you got to look strategically for your pools. Who's going to be on a team that's got the right defensive system, and how they're going to platoon, how many games they're going to get, their injury history. But in the end, you got to watch them play, and it's hard to not see guys like Price, like Holtby, and not be impressed. Fleury, Rask, these guys have been doing it for how many years? They're good, and they've got cup rings to prove it.
Yeah,
Except
and
for Price.
but they're past their prime. Like, what's a prime for a goalie? Probably 27, 28, I would say. Yeah. All these goalies we're talking about are 30 plus. Fleury's 34. He's breaking down. Like, how would you not break down at that point? 9-13 last year. He'll probably get about the same. The team's going to ride him into that. The addition.
He's in the league since he's 18 too.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
It's about winning though, and these guys have won more games than they've lost.
But having a better team next year, like I have him as on a downroll spell, but having Stone and Pacioretty and a few of these players will actually make up for the downroll spell. Where he'll probably get about the same numbers this year. Like, to be real, that Pacific Division doesn't look as good too. Rask, you've been talking about Rask. Where do we have him? I got him number 8.
4.
Off. Okay.
Not on the list.
No.
Well, you see, 2 family members from Blair's family are not going to be talking to you now.
Just like I said earlier, I'm just afraid that Halak's going to steal the show again in the regular season.
Yeah.
Too many.
Never.
Do you think that's because he was working for a job, or just because Rask wasn't playing the way he should?
I think it's just load management.
Yep.
Legitimately just strategizing to keep Rask nice and fresh.
Okay.
Good.
For the
I
playoff
agree
run.
with that.
And it worked.
But
Yeah,
Halak's
it
not
worked great.
But Halak is not a great goalie in my books. I don't even have him on my top 100.
But when he's working for a job, that's a different story. When anyone's working for a job.
Definitely. Oh, that's just what's keeping Rask off my top 11. I mean, top 11 is.
And this is
top
season,
third of the
yeah.
league. Like, this is.
Important.
Well, you're not far off. You only
I'm
had.
not saying he's like way down. I'm not saying I wouldn't pick him ever. I'm just saying that, like, when you're talking top 10, top 11 goalies, I just like guys that I know are going to play the big bulk of the games.
He only has 33 projected wins, but that's only having he had 27 wins last year. So right in the middle of that, even if Halak does get that, he's still guaranteed for 30. So it depends where he's in your placement. But a 912 save percent last year, you're right.
No,
he didn't.
huge.
He did not have the best year. Like, playoffs were a different story. He was amazing, but a 912, he is a 920 goalie. So we might see a little better out of him. He has a 9.21 save percent average in his career, so that might go up a bit this year. That's why I do have him placed there. I think that's why Shelley has him placed so high there too. But yeah, he might be right about Halak down there. But it's hard to argue what Boston brings to the table. Their system, having Chara back there, nobody wants to play against him. It's not fun.
The first rule when you play hockey, because apparently I'm such a goalie lover, I hope you didn't hear that comment that the guy in the pink shirt made, but I happen to think that if you protect your goalies, you have a chance to win if they're a top 25 goalie. And
I'm gonna stop you. I look good in pink. Fuck you, man.
It's not pink, it's bubblegum.
Chara doesn't have the skates anymore, but if he gets a hold of you, no one wants to be in that corner.
But think if you hack the goalie or stick around the blue paint looking for a rebound, you're going to get punished. Boston does it the right way. They play defense the right way, and they get to the Stanley Cup a couple of times in the last 10 years.
Yep.
They just finish their checks. They don't take any easy way out. They're on their first shift. They're going to do everything. Yeah.
Tends to win more than it loses.
It does, and everyone's chirped that system that the game's changing. But why does Boston do so good every year? There's something going on there where they know what's up. Like,
yeah.
We argued last episode about Bergeron and Marchand being overused. Mm-hmm. Why are they on the penalty kill and the power play and the first line? It's like, do you want them blocking shots too? No, we save them for the power play and the first line.
They stole 4 games with shorthanded goals in the third period with Marchand and Bergeron.
Okay, maybe that's why they play in the penalty kill.
That's coaching.
But they're just so overused. But every time like we go back to chirp them and like then we look at the numbers and shit like that, it's like fuck. That's why they do that.
They just win
right?
games.
Yeah. There's no really replacing those kind of players.
I have to say, Bergeron over the last 5 years, his stock has gone up threefold with me because I just didn't get to watch him enough.
Yeah.
And I'm really impressed with his play away from the puck. You know, he's a gifted player with the puck, but his work ethic and his strategy, he's like Jacques Lemaire with size. Mm-hmm. Another throwback to the 70s. But these guys understand the game and they work hard at it. And when you put that combination together, it's hard to beat them.
True. Well, speaking of the 70s, let's take a quick break here. We'll be right back for segment 3. Welcome back, segment 3. I got Price at number 9.
I had him a little higher, just 7. But
6.
Just, we put him at
7, 6, 9.
Same spot.
Yep.
Probably all the same concerns. Is he
Injury.
going to play enough games?
Yeah. And if he does, you're looking for 35 wins. If he doesn't, you're looking at 10 games. He seems to have this pattern where he'll play 10 and then he'll win you 35. Can I take a chance on that on Montreal? Yeah, I'm thinking they might squeeze into playoffs this year. Started to turn it on at the end of the year there. Kokanami?
Kotkaniemi.
Yeah, I need to know how to say it. He was amazing. And for first year coming out of the rookie as a center to be able that defensively sound, I think he's going to have a great year this year. Domi's been coming to his own there. Drouin was one of my favorite players to watch.
Poling, I don't know if I'm saying his name
Oh,
right,
yeah.
but he was
Coming
he's
on.
looking good,
Good
too.
call. Good call.
Yeah.
He's looking good so far.
Desjardins, they had so many players that can do it. Gallagher is always reliable for 30 goals. If Weber having a full season too,
hopefully.
I think people will be surprised about Price coming there. I'm not a big Montreal fan, so I can't really praise it. This number isn't coming from anything like that. It's more so if Price is on the board, then you should probably take him.
If he's playing, he's more than likely just going to win the game. If he ends up being injured, you just keep him on your bench, and as soon as he comes back, he's just a win machine.
Yeah, especially if you have a limited amount of times you can play your goalies on your fantasy list this year. Then
You just got to pick a second goalie more early on.
Plus, you don't want to be the guy. You don't want to be the guy who passed on Price, late, and everybody says
that happens every 2 years. You're like, yeah.
Take Price.
And he ends up playing 60
It's
games,
like not putting Gretzky
5
on.
shutouts.
Like not putting Gretzky on in the shootout at a famous tournament that happened. Really, you had the greatest scorer of all time on the bench, and it didn't occur to you to maybe put him out there for the shootout. Price is the same way. He's the best goalie.
Man,
of our generation.
2 years ago, I passed on McKinnon, and it was about 5 games in the season. And
Wow, blasphemy.
I traded Price for McKinnon straight up, and the guy took it. I got McKinnon. Price got injured 5 games later. Only played 10 games that year. That was the best trade I've ever made in fantasy drafts. But 10, a bit of a reach on here. I'm probably going to get hated on this. Leonard, 25 wins, a 930 last year. I have him this high because Chicago is going to carry him. Their main goalie, what's his face? Gets injured every year. You can't rely on him. He's good for 5 games a year. No, that's why they picked up Leonard. Paid him $5 million for this 1 year. He won't hit a 930. Don't get me wrong. He's going to hit a 920, 925. He's good enough to hit that with Chicago's systems. 25 wins though. That's going to boost up to about 30. There's no way it can't. If you're not combating for the first position, first starter spot, there's no way he shouldn't get that. And if he doesn't play good, it won't matter. That team is so offensively sound. Gustafsson, all these players are coming up, and it's that power play. How do you argue with it? They're going to carry on when it's back. What that coach came in right at the start of the year or whatever. He didn't have enough time to actually get his systems into play until halfay through the year, and that's when they started doing good.
It'll make a big difference when he gets a full training camp with the guys.
Yeah. He has a huge upside for that too. He's doing all the campaigns for the mental health stuff, and a real good guy. I'm rooting for him. There's not enough people that do that have the league that are willing to admit these problems, and Leonard's gone up full board in social media with that, raising money for everything. And I don't think if you're not rooting for him, then you might not be 100% human. He's a good guy. He's honest, and I'm definitely rooting for him.
I'm definitely rooting for Leonard as well. He's going to put up some good numbers, albeit not as good as in New York. It's hard to look
Chicago
as good as when you're playing under Trotz's system. I'm just afraid that what happens if this is Crawford's healthy season.
Yeah,
you're just so many games taken away.
Yeah,
and other Western teams I feel are going to do just as good.
What number are you at there?
10.
10. Okay.
Crawford is the last 4 or 5 years though. He's been injured every year.
Yeah, agreed.
There's no really. That's kind of why they picked him up. But yeah, we'll see what happens. He didn't make any of your list, I guess, probably.
No.
Yeah, no. Shelley.
At 10.
Yeah.
Who do you have, Crawford?
Leonard.
Lecture. No, I didn't. I was trying to teach you that. I didn't put him in, but I got Rugar at 10, so you should be happy with me for that.
Yeah.
Because I couldn't leave him off the top 10.
Yeah. But
Team stat.
no, Patty, you're more saying it's like a Kemper situation where it's like Arizona carrying.
Like what if?
Yeah.
Right. You don't want to pick a goalie so high and then just end up being
Annihilating the whole thing.
But if you did look at his numbers with what he did in Buffalo with the trash team,
terrific goalie. He was great in Ottawa too. I got to watch him back when I was.
He's a good goalie.
He's got lots of shots. Kind of like the Jets.
He's always had that workload where he's used to this many shots and on an offense-minded team where they can score more than he can save.
Huge body too. Covers a lot of net.
Yeah.
He's feisty.
Yeah, and he's got a little something to prove, a little chip on his shoulder now too. As if New York didn't keep him after that too. But our my 11th pick, it's probably not our 11th pick. A bit of a reach. Watching the youngins last year, Hart really stood out to me. Watching him in the juniors, everything he's done up to that point, 2016, 48th overall. He only won 16 games last year, but he had a 9-17 on a horrible Philly team. Now that you got Couturier coming into his prime, I got Giroux for a bounce back year. Provorov just signed that contract. They got Gosh to spare there too. They have
Kevin Hayes for some depth now down the middle.
Yeah, that too. They were missing that second center like Winnipeg forever.
Forgotten about that. That was a good move by Philly.
Konechny signing. Voracek's always been a beast. Like the whole team's amazing. And Hart to only get 16 wins last year. Like
I love Carter Hart as a goalie. He played well in the second half of that season to carry Philly a little bit close to a playoff spot.
That's the thing, though. Why would you play 7 goalies before you played Hart to figure out, oh, yeah, we got a good goalie here? Like, obviously, they wanted him to marinate a bit, but when you're to the 3rd or 4th goalie, that's when you play him. You don't play him at the 7th goalie. If maybe they played him before, they could have snuck into the playoffs. And
I'm just too afraid of that Metropolitan division. I don't know who's going to come out on top.
Hart.
Pittsburgh, Washington, the Islanders, Carolina, Philly. I don't know who's going to come out on top of that. And there's only 3-4 teams that are going to be able to have a winning record out of those teams, and I can't call it comfortably.
Yeah.
And Philly being on the outside looking in, can they bounce it back? They probably can. But I'm just not that confident in picking which goalie or which team out of those is going to come out on top in that division.
Yeah, but for a full year, though, I think he'll be up in at least the 30 range for sure. I think it's a guaranteed 30 win pick.
I'm hoping so.
He's definitely their number one. There's no, there's not going to be he's going to have to fight for the ice time.
Oh, it's all his.
Yeah. So with that in mind too, it's I have him up in the 30 range. I think he's going to be a safe 11. NHL had him at 13, but I moved him up a couple spots. It was hard picking between Hart and Markstrom from Vancouver.
Yeah, who can blame you? Markstrom's a beautiful goalie. Nice goalie.
He is.
I had him at 8. I had him inside of my top 11.
You did, eh?
I just love Vancouver as a team.
Yeah.
I think that they're going to do great next year.
Yeah.
And he carried over 60 games last year, so he's not sharing the load.
Yeah.
I've got him at 11, so it's good to have him there.
Myers too on the team too. Vancouver's gonna be way better, and that Pacific just got
Myers, Farland, they just got way better.
Yeah.
And he's just gonna rack up the wins this year, I feel.
When you have a Vancouver team that's talking about all these different players, Furland, you've got Adler, you've got Myers, you've got Besser. You never hear about Horvat, and this guy is a blue chip player. So Vancouver might surprise a lot of people with their depth, and they got one of the best coaches in my experience, personality-wise. I think the players love to play for a guy like that. Who knows? He might have a winning record more so than our coach, Coach Murray's. By the way, I got Huckleberry at 12.
Yeah, good pick there. A couple of just misses. Hellebuck, obviously got to get a little shout out there. I don't have him in mind at all. I think he's going to fake an injury this year. Calling it now because the team's going to be so shitty that he's going to fake an injury. I'm going to save my save percent, and I'm going to play 20 games this year. Calling it now. You heard it first on Jets Fantasy Field.
Westwell always plays. He played amazing last year. Took a lot of starts.
Yeah.
As well. Got to be afraid of splitting a little too much.
Yeah.
Eating too many wins.
Yeah, this will be.
Just misses as well. Dubnyk, Minnesota's just going to be a tire fire. He's going to put up great save.
Tire fire, there.
Shutouts, but I just don't see that many wins
Too
coming
bad
out
for
Minnesota's way.
Sorry for interrupting you there. It's too bad for Dubnikov, as I used to call him, because he earned his privilege to go to Minnesota because he was in Edmonton for for some very trying times, and he was always a character. He played well. The team backed him up. He's a guy they like. And he got to Minnesota and things were looking good. And then all of a sudden, GM started trading away all their players.
Yeah.
Puppy.
Oh, Abel's home. Nice. Holtby we didn't have on our list there.
I did.
Oh, you did?
I did. Oh yeah, I had him at number 8.
Who's this, sorry? Holtby.
Yeah.
Yeah. I just this for me.
Yeah.
Just the regular season was shaky for him last year.
Yeah.
I just don't know if the backup's going to steal the show again.
Nice. Yeah, I just have the injury concern. He had I think a 912 last year. He had a 900 the year before. It more comes down to Washington's power play carrying him.
Yeah.
There's nothing about Holtby that I really like anymore. He's good in playoffs when he needs to be. But for a whole year, I don't have him making that spot. And to draft him in front of all these goalies that are up and coming and a couple guarantees in there, it's nonsense. Like,
and also, surprise, surprise, a goalie looked great under Trotz and a little worse after he left.
Yeah. But with Trotz though, he still only had a 900. That was the year that Grubauer got them into playoffs.
Wow.
Yeah, only a 900 on Washington. Like, that's not good numbers.
That's not typical for Trotz at all.
No. That's why he's off my list. Mrazek, I was thinking about putting in there too. I think Carolina's got a big year ahead. I think he's going to fight for that contract. Anyone playing for a contract is going to play a little better too.
Someone that I know is going to bring up debate right now, but I think he's just going to eat up the wins. Martin Jones.
Good call.
I had him
Yeah, you did have that on your list. Pretty high too.
I had him up at 5.
Wow.
You look at the absolute disaster season, and I mean, he played like absolute hot garbage last year. I'm the first one to
And the year before.
And the year before. But nonetheless, finished still. Third in wins. Third in shutouts. It doesn't matter. His team carried him. He's the definition of, and they hate their backup so much more because they still played him 60 games. He's going to get all the starts regardless of how bad he plays. And San Jose's still going to win.
But if you care about save percent in your league, that's kind of why I didn't have him.
He's sub 900. It was not pretty to look at.
No, and it's not going to get better. Let's get real.
Well, it could be a team stat, but what I want to know, was that the same Jones that Toronto let go?
No.
No.
New York. Right?
You can't imagine.
I don't know where that Jones went.
Pretty sure you can't.
This is Martin Jones from LA, though.
Okay. Yeah, he was up and coming. He just never. I don't know.
He turned it on in the playoffs, so you can hope that his save percentage is going to turn around for the regular season. I'm not confident in that. I'm just confident that San Jose is going to rock the win column again.
Yeah, probably. Binnington obviously just missing there too. I don't even want to start talking about him. I think it's a fluke. Very in the depths there.
You think it's the Cam Ward effect again? Rookie goalie wins the cup on a hot streak and
maybe
collapses.
I'm more so coming from St. Louis is going to have a really good summer, and they're not going to be ready to start the year.
Good sunrise and fun.
Whatever you want to call it.
Lots of coffee.
Probably hanging out with Kuznetsov a bit in the summer there, but you got to celebrate sometimes. But they're going to have a slow season. Anyone that's traditionally, if you think about it, not just the whole partying and celebrating, they had a full year. They had another month or 2 of more hockey than everyone else did. They have less rest time coming to the season. Washington was complaining about that we make playoffs and we go far every year, so we have a shorter summer, so we're more tired to start the year. So when you look at that in consideration, that I think it's a total fluke that they even gone to playoffs, let alone won. I have them as a kind of like a Hellebuck. You'll pretend an injury and get out for the year. St. Louis is getting last this year. No,
I'm a little more high on Binnington, but it's I wouldn't pick him very high. Don't let the cup fool you too much.
No, and you see goalies come and do that. They make one stunt. I know you as
become complacent. Sorry for interrupting. A cup win doesn't count for much anymore. I remember when Kenny Dryden came in and stole Boston's righteous second Stanley Cup after they won the first one with the famous goal with Bobby Orr, and they cleaned up the season. But Kenny Dryden came up and stole the first round from Boston, and it's all history from there. He's in the Hall of Fame now. So we got to go easy on guys like Binnington because he's a beautiful goaltender.
I'm probably not giving him as much credit as I should. I have him as a just miss too, but I don't see him doing the same numbers as last year. But he could still get 920 and whatnot there. But Allen, like he used to be a good goalie. Maybe they'll fight for position this year. I
don't. Jake Allen is having a rough one.
Man, when Shelley put his team in, he had Allen on his list.
Yeah.
Every game Jake Allen starts, he's
I had the right team, wrong goalie.
Yeah.
Every game that Jake Allen starts, he's big. That's pretty much it.
Yeah. There's I feel like he's gonna go so high that everyone's gonna pick him. That if you don't pick him and you go past it, it's gonna be a little more. A little better, a little more money for your pick there. But if he drops to 60, take him for sure.
Yeah.
Blackwood on New Jersey. Schneider's on the down spiral.
That's another team in the Metropolitan. That are they better than the Washington, Pittsburgh, Islanders, Philly, the rest of them? I don't know. So I just avoid that division altogether.
Yeah, I don't think New Jersey will be good enough to carry Blackwood. But what I've seen from Blackwood last year when he came in, Schneider's been pretty brutal the last couple of years ever since he got traded from Vancouver. I don't know if Vancouver knew that because that looked like a horrible trade at the time. But Blackwood is probably one of the best youngest goalies. Him and Hart might have the same numbers this year. I could see Blackwood putting up 30 wins this year. And if that's the case and Blackwood's, you're getting him around the 100 range, definitely take him. Don't take Schneider.
Good second goalie option.
Yeah.
Blackwood, definitely. Good
Second or third string.
Agreed.
Gorgiev is the same thing. New York Rangers. Lundqvist apparently had a really good summer. He might have a bounce back, but he's just so inconsistent. If you saw last year, he just looked way out of place to the point where he wasn't even close to saving goals. It's not like he was getting bad bounces. And then Gorgiev would come in there and shine every game. He was almost too cocky. He was like Riddick from Calgary. That was like, I hate him, but he's good, and that's why he's cocky because he knows he's good. But like, I can't support that shit. But anyways, any goalies on your list that we?
Yeah, go ahead.
Have we missed any goalies?
Yeah, there's one that I don't think came up on either of your lists who I put on mine, and that was Rinnie, Pekka Rinnie.
He's actually 11 for me.
Cool.
I
have him at 7.
I'm not sure about Nashville, but I know he's going to get the bulk of the starts.
But I've watched him play, and he has some bad games, but he's a darn good goalie. He's a darn good goalie.
But those bad games isn't what I'm looking for. What if you don't play him and then you just, they're playing Ottawa, let's play him. We'll let 6 goals. And you're like, what just happened? You can't predict what he's going to do because he'll let like 6 goals against bad teams too. It just depends which night he wants to show up. It doesn't matter the team he's playing.
You're saying you don't know like what game to play him in?
How do you?
Like it's completely random.
How do you predict which lineup placement to do? And usually, if you play a worse team, you put in your goalie or whatever the case is. But he's so over the map that how do you choose which game he's going to play?
If you pick him, you just have to commit to putting him in every game.
If I could give any advice to our listeners, it would be skip on him and grab Saros because Saros is going to play more games this year and have more wins than Rene.
Wow.
And Gibson.
That's a bold prediction.
Okay.
Gibson wasn't mentioned by either of you in the top 10, and I've got him in there at 9.
I had him at 9 too. Patty convinced me not to, only because the surrounding cast.
Yeah. And
Gibson.
That Pacific division, even though it's not going to be that strong, Anaheim is still at the bottom of that run.
Gibson might be the best top 3 goalies as a goalie in the league. If we're talking, if teams didn't matter and you were just looking at goalie play, he had a 917 last year, and that should have been about a 900 for a normal goalie.
He probably faced the most 2-on-0s.
Yeah,
in the whole league.
he got left to dry every game, and he would still put up numbers to the point where Gibson, give him like 2-3 years down the road when Anaheim like gets better. But if you're looking at just goalies, for sure, he's probably the top 3 best goalies in the league. He's one of the best youngest goalies, but I don't think Anaheim has the tools to win him games. So
it's hard to win when your team scores 2 goals or less every game.
Yeah, and they got the rookies coming up too. Terry,
Steele.
Steele, Comtois, Terry. They have some good young players coming up, but their defense, and like they got rid of Montour for Buffalo at the end of the year there.
Vantanen's gone. He's in New Jersey.
Yeah, and they still have a couple core pieces, but if they would have kept some of the D they traded, like they could have built a team around that.
Yeah.
Now they're left with the scraps, and Perry's gone. I'm not saying they're missing much there, but no, it's hard for him to make my top list when you look at the surrounding team and what they're doing, and it's like Anaheim's a huge unknown. They're usually pretty good. They might even slip into a wild card. I don't really see it.
I don't see it either.
No, but they surprise every year where you're like, oh, it's Anaheim, don't worry about them. And then every year they're good. You're like, how are you guys
I'm not convinced that they're coaching. I mean, if a guy like Carlisle gets gassed there and give him blood from his body to win, I don't see how...
Does he skate or practice with?
He used to. Dallas Eakins. I watched him coach in Edmonton. I watched him play here, and to me, he's not a student of the game any more than Charlie Huddy is a master of defense. Sorry.
What was St. Louis's old coach? I was trying to picture him on skates.
Hitchcock.
I was trying to see him like.
When you keep talking about these guys in skates, why do you keep looking at me when you're talking about it?
No reason. But if you don't have enough energy to blow the whistle, you can't get mad at your players for not stopping a play, right? So there's gonna be some concerns there. Let's wrap this up. Thanks for listening again there. We'll be back probably in a couple days. We got the game coming up against Minnesota, I think they play.
Yeah, on Wednesday.
Yeah, nice. Yeah, we'll probably rip a cast after that. We're going to probably finish off our top D list as well there. So, yeah, we'll be back at it.